One of my favorite guilty pleasures is the series Love is Blind. And this season, one of the couples actually talks about their attachment styles. Now, I have been watching this show for years, and I've always wondered, as an attachment specialist, if they understand how their attachment patterns are impacting who they're choosing and how those relationships go. And this season, one of the couples is finally talking about it. So in this video, I'm going to take you through this one couple's relationship and break down everything they do and say from an attachment perspective. So if you're an attachment nerd like I am, and possibly a Love is Blind fanatic like I might also happen to be, then this is the episode for you. So let's dive in.
When I was younger, I was actually extremely unattractive and nerdy and weird, and people didn't talk to me. I had like this big afro. I had braces. I had really severe acne. I wore this big purple sweater every day because I just felt comfortable in it. I remember telling a girl that I had a crush on her in high school, and she laughed in my face, and all of her friends looked over at me and started laughing. And so then I went and ate lunch in the bathroom.
So when we first meet Alex, the first thing we find out about him is that he got bullied in high school. It sounds like really terribly. And he shares this one piece, which is that he wore the same, actually purple sweater every day, and he ate lunch in the bathroom. And right away, bullying is a big trauma that a lot of people go through. And while bullying is a trauma in itself, a bigger trauma is when you are bullied and you don't have caregivers or parents that have the ability in themselves to really support you. So if he's wearing the same sweater every day, the first thing I think about as an attachment specialist is sort of, where are your parents? Are they conscious of what's happening to you? Can they see it on your face? And are they supporting you through this? Are they trying to protect you? So this is before we even hear about his attachment style, but I'm starting to think right away that maybe he didn't have that.
So I really love that you like to travel.
What are you looking for in a partner?
I just want someone who's kind.
It's really important to me that like people feel safe with me.
Oh my gosh. You're saying all the right things, Madison.
So first off, she asks, what are you looking for in a partner? And he says he really wants someone who's going to be kind, right? So we know right away that he has been impacted. And, Madison says, I want someone to feel safe with me. So, my guess right away is that that's something that she hasn't had in the past, and we're about to hear even more about it.
I had a rough childhood.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so my parents never got married, actually, so they had me when they were 19.
Wow.
My mom, she was really surrounded by a lot of drugs, and she was in kind of a rehab program when she met my dad. And they had me in an accident. Met my stepdad when I was 2, married him, and I also actually lost my stepdad when I was in 8th grade to a drug overdose.
Oh no, Madison.
My relationship with my mother is tough. I still talk to her when I can. Sometimes it gets to be a bit much for me, because I've just had to be like a parent to her my whole life. But I really love her.
Wow, so you can really see Alex is caring here. His heart, he has a lot of empathy. And Madison already, she's sharing something that's actually very traumatic for kids. First of all, obviously growing up around addiction is a deep trauma to experience and then to have to heal from. And now she also talks about how she had to be a caretaker for her mother. And this is not the natural order of things. Children are not meant to be caretakers for their parents. And so this creates a deep wound in a child. And when we look at it from an attachment perspective, it can create any of the insecure attachment styles, but I'm starting to think, as Madison is sharing, that she might fall under more of the fearful avoidant attachment style, because when you grow up and there's a lot of fear in your environment, like you have an addicted parent, it very often can create like a disorganized or fearful avoidant attachment style, because you love your parent, and she even says this, I love my mom, and you want close connection with them, but you also are afraid of them because of something that they're doing, whether that's addiction, or they have anger issues, or they're rageful, or they're physically violent.
So now I would say I'm close with my brother and my sister. Like, I just want to be the person for them that I never had.
Let's just take a moment where she says, I'm really close with my brothers and my sisters, my brother and my sister, and I want to be for them what I never had. And, that is, again, speaking to developing more of a fearful, avoidant, or disorganized attachment, because it's, this is a young lady in her 20s who's ideally looking to start her life, looking to build her career, looking to build her own marriage. So feeling that she has to be responsible for her younger siblings is, it's really a tough position to be in. And it definitely speaks to her having some attachment adaptations that she's going to have to overcome. Okay, let's keep going.
I've also had some family issues, not anywhere near yours.
I want to hear about it.
Well, I had a rough time in school. I was relentlessly bullied. I was beat up in the hallway. I remember going into lunch, and I'd try to sit down at a table, and people would push my tray off the table.
What the fuck?
And so I'd go eat alone in the bathroom, or in the practice room, and play piano or something.
Yeah.
So that was brutal for sure.
That makes my heart hurt for you.
And I have really bad ADHD. And so I failed high school basically. And my whole family's about school and academia. And so they were really disappointed in me. And so I got kicked out of the house, and I had to just figure it out on my own basically.
Wow.
And so it was really hard, but I think looking back, I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah.
So now Alex tells us about the bullying at school, and that he had really bad ADHD, and that he did really poorly in school, and then his parents kicked him out because they were academics. So again, bullying is a trauma, but the big trauma is the way his parents dealt with it and how they didn't protect him from what was going on in school. That is the trauma that really cuts even deeper. And then to not support him because of his learning difference, and for him to have to feel like he had to figure things out on his own. So that creates a lot of fear in the system again. So now with Alex, I'm also wondering is there some disorganized attachment for him as well? So is he also a person that brings a lot of fear to relationships?
But when I'm in a room now, I can sense who isn't being included, and I really I want to include them, and it makes me happy to include them.
Yeah.
So Alex talks about when now I'm in a room and I can see who's not being included, and to me that speaks to sort of the hypervigilance piece. So he's watching everyone and what's going on in all the social dynamics, which again speaks to more of a disorganized attachment style. Now, the thing about disorganized attachment is that you have both anxious and avoidant traits, plus you have a lot more fear when it comes to relationships. So with disorganized attachment, getting really close to someone can feel is scary, and also feeling like the other person is pulling away is also really scary. So a lot of times with disorganized attachment, you'll create a push-pull relationship, or a come here, go away, or you'll be really into someone and then you'll be like, well, I don't want to have anything to do with you. The other thing I want to say about disorganized attachment is that since you can have both anxious and avoidant traits, some people with disorganized tend to lean more anxious in their disorganized attachment, and some tend to lean more avoidant. And the other thing to remember is that attachment styles are just adaptations. They're the ways we survived the pain we experienced as children, and they can change, they can shift. We can heal from attachment styles, from insecure attachment styles, and we can learn how to build secure, functioning relationships no matter where we came from. But it does take work. So we'll see if the two of these can get there. And so we'll see if these two can get there, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, just was not very cool, like, in high school, which is, you know, why I kind of gravitated a lot more towards art.
Yeah.
And academics.
I love that though. I like a little nerd, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, well, that's all I had. And, you know, after school, had a glow up. And now not only am I cool, funny, and smart, but I'm an artist.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm a painter.
Madison, you're killing me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the confidence. Hell
Yeah.
yeah, Madison.
What's interesting here is, you know, Madison is sharing about how she had a hard time, but then she had a glow up and now she's a painter, and not just, you know, funny and smart, but creative. And Alex is loving this. And the thing is that, like, let's say you have someone that leans more anxious and you have someone that leans more avoidant. A lot of times those two people are going to be attracted to each other in the beginning. And that's because the anxious person really loves the avoidance, confidence, their stability, their ability to stay grounded, their sort of straightforward thinking. And the more avoidant person loves the emotions of the anxious person, loves how they can open up, how kind they are, how caring, how they're really trying to build the relationship with the more avoidant partner. So in the beginning, these are traits that really draw anxious to avoidant and avoidant to anxious. The question is, can they be navigated during the relationship, or does the avoidant person start feeling overwhelmed by the emotions of the anxious, and does the anxious person feel like they need to chase the avoidant for the emotional connection?
Hello.
Is this Madison?
Yes, this is Alex.
Oh, yes, it is. Madison, I'm so happy to be here with you right now.
Yeah.
I'm here just for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're flattering, but are you being honest?
Okay, so here we are, we're back at another date with them. And he says, I'm here just for you. And she says, that's flattering, but are you being honest? So for me right away, that's again a sign of more of a disorganized attachment style, which is like bringing some fear right away to the interaction between them.
I really am, actually. I come in here and instantly, like, I'm just so calm, and you have such a good voice.
So he says, I come in here and I'm instantly calm. And for someone who maybe leans more anxious, feeling calm in the presence of another person initially when you start meeting them is actually a huge relief.
Voice of an angel.
Oh my God.
It's so comforting.
I feel the same way about your voice. It's very good.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. I feel like I'm constantly smiling with you in this pod.
Now there's this whole other thing that happens with this guy Mason, but I don't have time to break that down in this video, so you're gonna have to just watch the episodes to find that part out. So now we get into episode 2, and now they're going to have their first really deep conversation, and they're gonna open up about what they know about their attachment styles.
In the dark hotel room, just silence, no phone. I was doing a lot of thinking.
Dark in a bed thinking, or?
Whoa, no.
No, I'm kidding.
So, how are you feeling today?
So what's interesting about Madison, she says dark in a bed thinking. Now the thing about Madison that I do find in all her relationships is she does sort of lead with the sexual. Now, of course, a lot of people do this. This isn't related to any specific attachment style. But a lot of times folks that are a little bit more avoidant, they will lean with the sexual because it's an area that they feel comfortable with, where they don't have to get as emotional as quickly. And a lot of times avoidant folks actually do feel that they connect through the sexual. So it can be very important for them. So I don't know, just something to think about as we're watching.
I feel like today could be like kind of a turning point for things. You know, you kind of either just stay on the surface or you get deep.
Okay, I've got a deep question for you.
All right, hit me.
What are you like when there is conflict in a relationship? Do you ever get upset and yell or like say anything like hurtful?
No. No, first of all, I can't physically yell.
Okay.
But also, I grew up with a really angry dad, and that's never who I want to be. Instead of getting like mad or violent, I get very logical.
So now she's telling a little bit more of her story and talking about how she is in conflict. So I love that Alex asked this question of how are you during conflict, because it says a lot about him and maybe a little bit about what he's experienced in past relationships that he doesn't want to do again. And then also it opens the door for Madison to start sharing more about her. Now she shares about growing up with an angry dad and how she can't physically yell. And what that says to me is that she probably experienced a lot of fear in her childhood related to having an angry dad. And so her adaptation is to close down and to withdraw. And she says here, well, I get very logical, and logical is a very avoidant trait.
I like that.
Yeah. What about you?
I've been in some like pretty brutal situations that I'm really proud of myself that I handled in like a very calm way.
Yeah.
Like I was cheated on with someone that I was living with.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we lived together for 2 years, and like I saw some texts, and it was really bad, but we figured it out.
You guys stayed together?
No, we didn't.
Have you ever cheated before?
No, I have not.
Wow. It's unusual.
Unusual?
I feel like I ask that question a lot, and a lot of the times I get a yes.
Really?
Yeah. I've also been cheated on multiple times.
What?
Yeah. And this is kind of one of the reasons like I came on Love is Blind.
So they both talk here about how they were cheated on. And the challenge is they've obviously both been very victimized as children. And when we are used to being victimized as children, sometimes as adults, we can put ourselves in positions where we're actually going to continue to be victimized. And so when Madison says, you know, I've been cheated on multiple times, what might be happening is that in the past, she made choices of the kind of men that she was with who were going to hurt her, because those type of men would seem familiar to her. Now we can talk for a moment about dating and who we choose to date and who we feel chemistry with and who we feel drawn to. So a lot of times what happens is that we feel drawn to people who are somewhat familiar to us. And if we haven't worked through some of that, or a lot of that, we will be drawn to actually quite toxic people. We just won't see that from them in the beginning. So it could be that that's what Madison has dealt with in the past, that she's actually drawn in these men who are more dangerous for her because she actually had to deal with that her whole childhood. Let's see what happens next.
I came on Love is Blind. People can kind of look at me and like, initially want me. Once people start getting to know me, they're like, wow, I didn't think that you would be cool, smart, funny, whatever. Like, I just thought you were just this pretty girl. I've been single for 2 years now. I don't take that kind of bullshit anymore. But yeah, I've been really hurt over these past few years.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that you have been hurt in the past. I know how traumatizing that can be.
Yeah.
Do you think that is going to affect a future relationship, or have you worked through those issues of like trust and all that?
I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason not to.
So do you know the different attachment styles?
I do.
Do you know which one you are?
I am an avoidant.
Uh-oh, Madison. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
So, avoidance.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's my natural inclination, right? Is to be an avoidant. When I feel someone's energy start changing towards me I get scared and I kind of run. It's in a sense of like, well, I don't need them anyway. And I don't know if that's like out of a healthy place or not, but there's just like certain things where I'm just like, that's not my problem. That's not my problem. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a trigger for me because past relationships, I dealt with that, but like on the extreme end of it,
Yeah.
I'm more anxious. I feel like I'm not good enough. And so I want you to show me that, yes, you care about me and that you are not abandoning me.
Yeah.
And for you, it's like, let me get away and be on my own because I don't need you to show me that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
I think that could lead to some issues. I don't know.
So Madison says that she's been hurt. And now Alex is asking, do you think that's going to impact your future relationships? Like, have you worked through all your issues? Which is kind of ridiculous because most of us haven't worked through all our issues by the time we get into a relationship. In fact, the right relationship will help us work through our issues. So we don't come to relationships fixed and cured, but we come with the ability to grow and change and wanting that. Having done some work on ourselves, but also the relationship itself, the love itself can help heal, and it often does.
Just for like some context, I think I told you like my mom's a drug addict.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was like 12 years old, my stepdad had like taken too many pills or something, and I had to make sure that he was like still breathing on my birthday. That was like my norm.
Wow.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I wrote them this letter and I was just like, it's either drugs or it's me. And they didn't choose me.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, Madison, my heart just breaks for this lady, actually for both of them. So to me, that kind of experience, having a parent OD and having I think she said 12 years old, having to say to them, it's either drugs or me. I mean, that right there is like disorganized attachment in a nutshell. I need my parents to soothe me and to be there for me and to keep me alive, but they are scary. They are dangerous for me. And so I have to pull away to protect myself, although my every urge, the attachment urge, is to connect and to stay with them. So here she's trying to reach out and say, please be with me, please be my parents, please protect me, please stay connected to me. And instead they say, no, it's drugs or me, and they choose drugs. And that's devastating for a child.
And so I've just had to really like rely on myself for everything.
Yeah.
For a while I thought not meeting anyone was like a really good thing, like, but it's not. And I've learned that I'm ready to have someone in my life that like I can rely on and like I can trust fully. Like it's lonely not having that. And so I don't know if that helps give you context.
It really does, yeah. And I really got emotional when you're talking about your parents like that. That's really.
I know, I'm like tearing.
sad. I'm sorry about that, but it's really good that you have recognized that about yourself. And it shows a lot of growth.
Yeah, I mean, even on your side of things, like the fact that you're the one asking me about that, like I think that says so much about you as a person. But like we all have things that we have to like grow in and like do better in. And I think as long as we can commit to doing that, like that's the best that we can do for each other, you know? Like I don't expect you to never hurt my feelings. But I do expect for you to tell me when I hurt your feelings so that we can work through it.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not perfect, but like I feel like you and I, it seems like, have gone through a lot and are very self-aware people. And I'm in a place in my life where I know I can be a very good partner to someone. And I'm ready to be that for someone.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that.
What a beautiful conversation between the two of them at this point. It's really wonderful. And what Madison is saying to me is true. You know, we're not going to be perfect for our partners. We're not going to be able to never hurt them. The thing is, the way to deal with it is, can I speak to it when I get hurt? Can I repair when I hurt my partner? And can we find a way to reconnect and move on? So it sounds like Madison has done a lot of healing. The challenge is right now at least, is Alex in a place where he is able to trust and to believe that she actually has done this work on herself? And can he put his anxiousness to the side enough that he can step in?
I don't know, you sound scared over there.
I'm definitely not scared. I just think I have been in relationships with people like that, like not like you, but like a very extreme version of an avoidant person.
Yeah, like an unhealed person.
Yeah.
So Alex is visibly shaken by the fact that Madison has said she has avoidant tendencies. And it's clear that he's been hurt in the past by folks withdrawing and him not being able to connect with them. So the question is the same question to her of, is this going to impact your future relationships? Well, it sounds like he's starting to feel the fear and how his past relationships are going to impact his future relationships as well.
Unhealed person.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That scares me a little bit.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to scare you, but I just want to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's the whole point of this. Like, I don't want you to get into this and be like, that terrifies me.
Yeah.
After being married.
Yeah. When I came in here, I thought that you were the strongest connection. And so I'm trying to really think about it, though. I don't want to, like, make wrong decision. I want to obviously, like, make a very informed decision.
Okay, so Alex is starting to get nervous. He's clearly shaken to the core by Madison saying that she has avoidant tendencies. And to me, that speaks to the fact that he also has a lot of unhealed pain from past relationships that he's projecting onto her.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about the attachment style conversation. And maybe we are initially attracted to people in here that are similar to people that we have dated out in the real world. I don't know if like that's why
Ooh, we are initially attracted to people in here that are similar to people we've dated in the outside world. So even without seeing someone, the attachment energy draws you into someone. So again, we are attracted to what's familiar. And if we grew up in an environment that was dysfunctional or toxic or unattuned, a lot of times we will be attracted to that in our love relationships. That isn't always a bad thing. A lot of times, if we find someone, which we usually do, that has similarities, but they're much smaller and everyone's working on it, we can work past it and we can actually heal ourselves a lot more in the process together than we could on our own. But now Alex is nervous, so who knows what's going to happen. Now, is his potential fearful avoidant attachment or his anxious attachment going to push him away from her? Let's see.
I love it. It's the Berlian.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, I'm giving it a big hug right now.
So now in episode 3, Madison gives him her favorite bear to cuddle with, her Berlian. And, you know, here we just really see that she's trying. She's trying to reach out to Alex. She's trying to show him that she cares. She's trying to show him that she is thinking about his well-being and his level of comfort and that she isn't defined by her attachment style.
I'm tucking her in. Well, I believe you and I trust you. And I also wanted to say that, like, I apologize. It was intense. It came off very strong, and I didn't mean for it to.
So how beautiful, right? He apologizes. She says it's okay. She gives him this gift. So this is actually a beautiful example of repair and then connection. You know, relationships will always go through this process of disconnection, repair, and connection again. Now, if you can weather that with your partner, there's a lot of hope. If you can repair successfully, there's a lot of hope. And if you're looking to repair, I happen to have another video on repair, which you can open up in a new browser here. So check that out and watch it after this one.
I don't want you to feel like you can't bring up like concerns or anything, but yeah, it felt like after that you kind of shut down on me. And that was disheartening a little bit.
Okay, so Madison says, after we had that conflict, you shut down on me. So now Alex says he's anxious, But if he shuts down when he is concerned and withdraws, then that speaks to more of a disorganized attachment. And again, knowing that Alex was bullied, so in an unsafe environment, and then got kicked out from his house because of his grades and his ADHD and his parents not attuning to that and actually putting him out on the street, again, that's very fearful for a child, which is going to create more fearful avoidant or disorganized attachment. And disorganized attachment can flow a little bit more anxious or a little bit more avoidant. So is Alex anxiously attached, or is he disorganized but skews anxious? So now they have some more good dates. It seems like things are going well, but now they drop into another one of these deep conversations about the past.
You cook a lot?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like all I can do is really snack for myself. When I get stressed, I can't eat at all. I can tell you exactly when it started. I was 17 and I felt so like responsible for like the well-being of my family. I would remember telling myself like, you are a robot. You don't feel anything. I would just completely disassociate from my own body.
So what is that? Like, what happens?
She remembers when she couldn't eat because she felt so overly responsible for her family that she would dissociate. And when you dissociate, you are not connected to any of your body, your human needs. You're not connected to your body anymore. You go into your head, you go into a place where you're disconnected from your being, and that's to avoid pain. So she talks about what happens when she dissociates.
It's just hard for me to like keep track of time. I can have like a bad memory sometimes. It's nothing to be concerned about. It's just something to be aware of, I guess.
Yeah. I wonder how I could help in that situation. Or is there anything I could do in that situation?
There's nothing really that like anyone can honestly do. I can handle things. You can't always like be there to like save the day and like it's sweet that you want to be able to like do something or help or like whatever. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility.
Yeah, so this is where Madison's avoidance is coming out. So Alex is trying to ask, he's trying to be sensitive. He's trying to say, can I help you? Can I be there for you? Can I reach out for you? And she's sort of like, I got this. Just let me handle it on my own. And that doesn't mean that if they were together, they wouldn't have been able to work through it. But ideally, when you're building a secure, functioning relationship with someone, over time, you find out ways to help each other to regulate. So if Madison were to go into a dissociated state, or she were to be struggling with some big emotions, that Alex actually could be there for her, whether it's just sitting next to her or putting a hand on her hand or getting her a snack or listening to her share or just taking a walk, that there would be things that he could do to help her, just like there are things she could do to help him, to help support him when he was in moments where he was struggling.
And I'm doing everything that I can and everything that I know in my resourced way to work through that.
Do you think that would affect a relationship?
In what way?
In a negative way.
It's not necessarily affecting like my relationships at all. Maybe I'll forget something, but usually that's not the case. Just like my childhood memories that I kind of like forget sometimes, but.
Yeah, so Alex is not buying it. Like, it doesn't affect my relationships. Like, of course it does. Like, my dear, if you have severe trauma to the point where you're still dissociating and not being able to eat, and then of course it affects your relationship. And also, my guess is he's reacting to her saying, like, I don't need anything, you don't have to save me, I don't need your help. That probably is activating a memory for him from the past of being in relationship with someone who's much more avoidant, extreme avoidance, as he put it.
Yeah, that's like my honest answer. Do you foresee that being an issue for you?
I don't know. It's tough because it's like not really in my control, I think. And I think that's really the only thing that maybe like is scary for me. Is that like it's not if there's nothing I can do, then it's out of my control, and then it's kind of like a wild card.
I truly like don't think that you would notice it. It's not like I just disappear. I just kind of go into like an autopilot mode.
Yeah, well, you might go into an autopilot mode, but Alex is going to feel you withdrawing. Because that's the thing about folks with more anxious attachment is they're like tentacles for the emotional state of their partner is way up. Like they tend to be hyper vigilant. So anxious folks will notice any change in how you're feeling and what your attitude is, in your energy level, in what the way that you're communicating with them. And anxious folks will tend to go to a place of what's wrong, what happened, are you leaving me, are you angry at me, are you upset with me? They're going to internalize it and see that as scary for them.
For the most part, like I'm fine with it. I think it's hard because I don't really know, right? It's just like an unknown.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of unknowns, you know.
Yeah,
You can always be really sure about anything.
that's true.
At the end of the day, I think it just comes down to trust.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you trust that, like, I am an aware person, that I'm working on that, that I'm a resourced person, you know, that I can handle it. How much can you trust this connection if we are moving forward?
Beautiful. So how much can you trust that I'm an aware person, I'm a resourced person, that I'm working on it, that I can handle it? I mean, that's really all we can do. Now, in a situation like this, like I said, I love this show, but like, how do you trust that you can make a connection or a commitment like this with someone when you can't see them, you can't see their eyes, you don't have consistent experience with them? For someone with insecure attachment, I mean, this often is a jump that's just too much to make without more information. So that may be what's happening here, that for Madison, she's done a lot of work and she's ready to take that leap and just see what happens. But Alex has been deeply hurt. I mean, she has as well, but Alex is saying, I don't want to go through this again. I don't know if I can do this. I can't control this. I don't know what's about to happen. So his anxious attachment is getting really activated now.
If we are moving forward in this, like, I want to know that you can trust me and not just like hear me say something and like get scared.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard. It's definitely hard, right? Because I can't see you, and it's like I don't know the extent of that.
At this point now, what I see happening is Alex is looking for the faults. He's starting to look for how this isn't going to work. You know, he's becoming that hyper-vigilant, anxious attachment that we hear about.
But I think I should start with trust.
Yeah. Once I get your phone number.
Yeah. After we're engaged and you get my phone number.
Yeah.
Life is crazy.
Life is crazy.
Okay, let's talk about some deep shit. Let's get into it.
I'm under the blanket right now.
What is something that you would not be able to deal with in a relationship?
I feel like you and I are aligned on a lot of things.
We're really similar with a lot.
I think I would be a cute little wifey.
I agree with that. I think you would be very cute and you would make a good wife.
Thank you.
I think the biggest concern on my end at this point would be the avoidance.
I'm still here, aren't I?
Alex says, well, let's talk deep. And, you know, right away, Madison puts the blanket over her head, which to me, it just like, you know, to me, that's like the younger self trying to protect herself. And then he says, well, the thing I'm concerned about is the avoidance. And she's like, I'm still here, aren't I? Like in this, I see like Madison trying so hard with whatever she can do to reassure Alex and reach out to him to try to keep the connection going.
You are, but how do I know that you're not going to get on a plane and leave?
So you're here, but how do I know you're not going to get on a plane and leave? And that is like the battle cry of anxious attachment. It's really, do you love me? Are you going to leave me? You're here now, but when will you go? And right there in a nutshell, that is anxious attachment.
Like, you weren't nervous that you'd walk into this pod and I wouldn't be here, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so, but maybe there's like a 3% chance in my brain.
No. You just gotta trust.
And she tells him, I'm here, you just gotta trust.
I almost feel invalidated in that.
No, I think
So then they get into their first argument, and Madison says, I feel invalidated by you. And this is where I think Alex really starts to push her away because he's feeling scared.
He's completely valid in saying that he's committed to me and then taking it back.
You know, Alex is making the mistake here of trying to be everyone's friend, where, you know, if you're in a relationship, you want to focus more on what your partner is going through than necessarily what the outside person is going through.
Sorry, am I making you anxious?
I think so, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so they get into this fight, and Madison feels invalidated, and actually now we're actually seeing the signs of her trying to process that, Alex wasn't there for her and that he actually didn't take her side, he didn't protect her. And so she starts tapping. She's getting anxious, she's starting to withdraw and pull back, which is making Alex feel anxious. And she says, am I making you anxious? And he's like, laughs anxiously and says, yes. And she says, sorry.
Do you laugh when you get awkward?
Sometimes, yeah. You're still tapping. When you kind of like shut down or don't talk to me, it's hard for me to know what to do. It's hard for me when I don't know.
Well, I did tell you.
So this is where things really, really start to go off the rails for these two, and their attachment systems are just pinging off of each other, and things are starting to get really messy.
I feel this like really big hesitancy from you.
The only reason I'm hesitant is the communication. Like, I have no other hesitations. Like, I really feel so good when I'm talking to you. We have similar interests.
Oh my God, my heart is just aching for these two.
And like, I picture myself living with you, and I picture like future with you. I see all of that and I want that. And I want to get married, and I am fully committed to that. What I don't want though is a relationship with miscommunication and fighting. It's something I've dealt with multiple times in the past, and it's just not something that I can do again.
So now again, we're hearing about how Alex's past relationships are really informing this. He was really hurt in the past, and he can't allow himself to do this again. Now, I don't know if he would have gotten there with anyone, but it really sounds like he's not going to get there with Madison.
I can't sit here and promise you that we'll never disagree on anything or fight about things, but I think how you choose to stay and how you choose to work it out is like the biggest thing. Like, I think you're trying to avoid all of those things, and that's really unrealistic.
Amen. I actually am completely agreeing with Madison in this moment. Conflicts happen. Conflicts happen in every relationship. They happen with all couples. In fact, sometimes when there's no conflict, that's actually a problem, because that means that couples aren't speaking what's true for them. The question is, do you stay? Do you work it through? Do you do what it takes to get to the other side and get back to that reconnection?
Can you reassure me like that we could communicate effectively? I think that's like the piece that's missing here.
I can reassure you that I will always give you my best and do my best to communicate with you. Like, you know, but like, I can't promise that it's always going to be good enough for you. Like, I can't promise we're not going to misunderstand each other. I can't promise I'm not going to like just need to take 5 minutes. Like, in the pods, like.
This is like classic anxious attachment right here. Can you reassure me that it's going to be okay? And I actually think that Madison does a really nice job here saying, I can't reassure you that it's always going to be enough for you or that I won't need to take a break, which is okay, but I'm going to do my best.
You get the best versions of us and you get the worst versions of us. So you kind of see all the ups and downs. It's like, if that's enough, then that's enough. If it's not, it's not. That's like what I can give you. It's like the promise to do my best.
Definitely believe that. Like, it's just something that scares me a lot, Madison. And I think at this point, it's a pretty big jump.
Like, you don't think we can get there?
We're not at a point to get engaged.
Okay, so that's it. Alex pulls the plug. Thanks for watching today. If you're a Love is Blind fan like I am, or an attachment nerd like I am, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments what you thought of this relationship. And please remember that you can build a secure, functioning relationship no matter what attachment style you come from. And if you subscribe to my channel, I hope to help you learn more about how to do that. I'll see you soon.